Evening, folks. Voice of reason, and it ain't looking good. I know it's been a while since I posted on YouTube, but man, what better time than now, huh? I hope everybody's been paying attention. I hope you're prepared, because a whole lot of things are starting to add up to a whole lot of not good. A whole lot of not good. Just hold on. It's going to be a wild ride. We got the Fed raising interest rates during inflation. We got fuel shortages. We've got fertilizer shortages. We've got shortages of labor. We got trains that everybody knows trains don't run late. They don't miss a schedule. No scheduled trains running to pick product up to move it around. A lot of strange things happening, folks. Pay attention. Please pay attention. I might have some crazy ideas, some crazy theories, but I'll tell you what, I pay attention. I listen and catch details, and I don't forget. And somehow I'm able to put all the pieces together and start to assemble something that makes a whole lot of sense. Maybe it just makes sense in my mind, but I'll let y'all be the judge. If you want to go for a ride, I'll take you on one. Give me just a sec. I didn't just wake up yesterday. I started really digging deep into different things that take place after 9/11, because I knew at very least 9/11 was allowed to happen. And I can explain. The greatest country in the world, right? Greatest military. We could have stopped any of that at any time, but they didn't. There was objectives that needed to be obtained. Like I said before, I latch on to details and I don't forget stuff. September 10th, 2001, Donald Rumsfeld goes on stage and announces to the world that the Pentagon cannot account for $2.3 trillion in spending. Pardon me. The very next day, September 11th, 2001, 4 airplanes are flown in, or hijacked. 2 obviously flown into the Twin Towers. 1 into the Pentagon, which no one's ever seen a video proving that it was an airplane, nor were there parts of an airplane. Many, anyway. There were things that could have been unloaded off of a truck, and that was about it. Not to mention the hole in the building doesn't match what an airplane could do. And there's so many other things. There's pictures from the third ring of concrete in with a small, concentric hole. Airplane's not going to make it past the first wing. It's not going to, a ring, I'm sorry, of concrete. It's not going to go. It's reinforced concrete with rebar, and it's 10 inches, 8 inches, whatever it is thick. It's not going through it. Not an airplane. It's made out of aluminum. Aircraft aluminum and rivets. Anyway, conveniently, when that took place, the records that were stored in the Pentagon regarding that $2.3 trillion were destroyed, as well as Building 7, the Salomon Brothers building of the World Trade Center. If you don't know about this, then hey, Annie. If you don't know about this, you can research it. Go look on other videos on YouTube. You can find it out there. The building was demolished, and the reason it was demolished is the rest of the records for that $2.3 trillion were in that building. It was a cover-up, and I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. That's what the details, and they always say follow the money, as the money says. Anyway, after all that, I started to pay attention to other things that take place. And it all seems to fall under the Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. You know, the solution is already the main goal. What they need now is they need a problem that will garner a reaction so that they can offer up that solution. That's the gig. It worked with CV-19. It worked with 9/11. It worked with Pearl Harbor. It worked with the Lusitania. And it's going to work again in the future because the general populace doesn't see it. Too wrapped up in your entertainment. He said, she said. Did Will Smith really slap Chris Rock? Who cares? Does that put food on your table? Does that put any dollar bills in your pocket or your bank account? No. Gives you something to talk to other people about, make you feel in the end. You're not in the end of nothing. You don't know nothing. All this facade, everything that you see before you, even this YouTube, is all just a facade. It's all crashing down right before your eyes, and you don't even see it because you're so involved in the he said, she said bullcrap of the world. You can't see it. And then you want to claim that folks like myself are conspiracy theorists. Let me explain how the term conspiracy theory works. It's two terms put together, if you don't already know that. Conspiracy and theory. Anybody with a grain of common sense, or uncommon sense these days, can easily ascertain the two and the meaning behind the two and what you mean when you put the two together. A conspiracy is when one or more people come together and conspire against one or more other people in any way, shape, form, or fashion. A theory is something that must be proven. Okay? Just because they don't admit things doesn't mean they haven't been proven. The evidence speaks for itself. Just because you don't see it laying in plain sight doesn't mean it's not there. Pay attention. Go back and look again, and you'll see. A fine example is when they had all this stuff going on in the Middle East, and they show this plane with all these Middle Eastern people that were running down the tarmac next to this plane, and a lot of them were smiling and giggling. And how many of you folks actually realize that that was an inflatable or a dirigible type plane? That was not that was not a real aircraft. Go back and look if you can find the video. I've got copies of it. I screenshot or screen recorded copies because I knew that it would be hard to find at some point. But there's video out there, or at least there should be. I've got a copy of it. And if you go back and look at that video, you can clearly see that there's no glass where there should be glass in the windshields. And the daggum thing bounces and moves. Anyway, that big gaggle of people, half of them were carrying an inflatable down the tarmac. The other half were running around and hooting and hollering. It was all semantics. It was all a movie, and a good portion of the world fell for it. It's really sad because here we're in the middle of, well, it'll be the Great Depression of the 21st century because we had the Great Depression of the 1920s. This is going to rival that, folks. This is going to rival that, quite possibly. And people aren't taking it seriously. I don't know what I'm trying to do by making this video, because if at this point you haven't figured it out yet, you probably aren't gonna. And the fact that I'm sitting here trying to explain it to you ain't really gonna help, because by now you done tuned out. I've gone way, way beyond the attention span of most people out there today. But if you see this video and you have a friend or a family member that you care about, that cares about you, that doesn't share the viewpoints that we may have in common, and you understand where I'm coming from, and you haven't been able to figure out a way to put it together, but you see that the way I'm talking and what I'm talking about makes a lot of sense, and just share it. Just share it. I'm not looking for I'm not trying to get rich. I don't monetize it. I ain't made a video on YouTube in over a year. But I don't know how much longer I've got, and there are people out there that know and respect me, and if they see this video, hopefully they get it to other people that they love and respect, that they don't want to see go through real hardship. Because if you don't figure out how to grow some food, and if you don't figure out how to barter and how to have valuable skills like building, constructing, I don't know, blacksmithing, you know, I don't care, whatever it is, gardening, these things are going to be premium. Okay? If you know how to do any of these things, hone your skills, work at it, learn how to take care of yourself, because Uncle Sam ain't gonna come take care of you. Uncle Sam's the one putting you through all this. Folks, the main reason for making this video, and I hope a lot of people have stuck around, I hope I can do something in editing to give a hook to get people to get to this point, but the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset, that agenda is going to move forward. The powers that be, the leaders of the world, have come together and agreed upon this agenda. They want to get the world... Shut up. Hush. Hush. I don't know if I can edit that out. You hush. They want to... I'm gonna come back. Sorry about that. I had to see what she was barking at. Take care of it real quick. Girl, you be quiet. So the leaders of the world, they've gotten together and they've agreed upon this agenda, and it has to do with the climate. Okay, they're wanting to get everybody off of fossil fuels. They want to remove fossil fuels as a means for power and energy. It boggles the mind. They want to put everything on electric. However, we don't have a way of really generating... I'm gonna have to pause. Anyhow, so they want to get us off fossil fuels and they want to make everything electric, but they don't have any real viable way of generating enough electricity to charge all of these electric vehicles that don't exist, which, by the way, we're going through a major shortage right now. I don't know how many of you guys remember, but for the last couple of years, it's been a real struggle to get a new car because microchips and other things that are holding up the supply chain. That's just in the automotive industry, and there's things like that throughout the whole chain, the whole supply chain. We've had train crashes in 2 different countries across the ocean regarding a very important component of fertilizer, potash, and we are facing a shortage of urea, another major component of fertilizer. Well, fertilizer is a major component of how we produce so much food for so many people. With all these shortages, none of this stuff is happening. We've had millions of chickens culled over an avian bird flu, with what I've heard of just 1 case being proven. And think of all the eggs that all those chickens would have produced. And they weren't on their deathbed. They were culled, so they could have produced several millions of eggs. We're having beef shortages. We're having wheat shortages. We're having feed shortages. There's shortages everywhere, folks. You may not see it all the way yet. If you walk into the local grocery store, you will. I promise you, by this summer, Everybody's going to think back if they watch this video and go, man, I hadn't heard nothing like that till then, and he was right. I should have listened. Guys, I've been paying attention for a long time, and I've made other videos talking about the World Economic Forum. It's been a while since I made a video, but it's getting a little too serious. It's getting a lot too serious, really, because a lot of people are going to be affected. The housing market's going to tumble and crash. The stock market's going to tumble and crash. There's going to be a run on banks. There's going to be a bank freeze this summer. There is a lot of stuff that if you're not paying attention, you're going to be caught off guard. If you don't have bare minimum 6 months worth of food put away and the knowledge to grow more, you might have a big problem come fall and come this winter. There's going to be food riots. There's already food riots in other countries in the world. We don't get to see their news because our news is agendized and they put out what they want us to see. It's propagandized. If you go and look at other news sources from other parts of the world and watch what's going on over there, and you can catch a different perspective, and it's not good. It's not good. And this is going around. Greece right now is, I'm sorry, not Greece, Germany right now is in a lot of trouble, and their inflation is like 60-something% right now, which is, their inflation's at a 60-year high. And if you think back 60 years and what Germany was going through, I mean, Germany's got a history of having really big issues, the Weimar Republic, and they had another major crisis in like 05 or 06, somewhere in there, and they're tumbling again right now. And Germany's just another domino because there's other countries, other global entities that are taking hits right now. And what's strange is if you watch the stock market, which I don't play the stock market. I have a 401k at work, and I didn't really elect to be in there. I sort of elected by not signing the no piece of paper to say I didn't want it. So at any rate, I don't know what's in there. I don't know what it's doing and what they invested in. I really don't pay much mind to it because I don't play the stock market, but I do pay attention to it because I manage a service industry quick lube shop. I need to make sure the market's going to start to affect business at some point, and I pay attention to that stuff, and it helps me kind of see down the road as far as what business might look like. If the market's really good and things are really going good, then business isn't going to be that bad. But when the market starts to take a hit, the people that have the expendable cash to pay someone to service their vehicle are going to use that expendable cash elsewhere if the market's down, because they're not raking in the money. They're actually spending more money than they're making. They don't adjust their lifestyle accordingly. They continue to try and keep up that lifestyle even though the money's not coming in as fast as it was. So that's what I mean also by preparing. Be mindful of how you spend, what you spend your money on. Food is going to be of the utmost importance because, look, we've already got baby formula shortages, right? We know for a fact that between the weather extremes this year and last year, between the labor shortages last year and this year, fertilizer shortages this year, we know that our local harvesters, farmers are not having a good year this year. It's not going to be good. The outlook is very bad, and the local news is not going to tell you this stuff. You've got to step outside of the box and start paying attention, because you'll start to see what the mainstream news is not allowed to tell you and talk about. But I promise you, the people that work at that news desk and on TV, a lot of those people are preparing because they know. They're in the know. They can't talk about it if they want the job. That's why sometimes they crack and start saying stuff on the air, and it's like, whoa, he went crazy. No, he didn't go crazy. He finally just had enough, and he started telling a lot of truth. I just see things how they are. I try to see past the fluff. I try to watch both hands. You got to have your eyes open and keep your head on a swivel. I love watching Greg Allison, Green Greg's I'll give him a little plug. Go check him out. He awesome old guy, lives up in northeast Alabama, central North Alabama, somewhere up there around Huntsville or something. He's a rocket scientist. Just really cool hippie guy. You'd love him. Go check him out. But at any rate, prepare. Make sure you have your house in order. You may not believe that this is a creation, that we have a creator, but I promise you, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong by acknowledging your creator and doing what's right. I'm not a holy roller. I'm not trying to be all this or that. Daggum air conditioner. I'm not trying to be all this or that about it. I'm just saying. I've read the Bible, and I know in the book of Revelations it talks about a lot of stuff that we're going through right now. Wars and rumors of wars and famines and plagues and pestilence and volcanoes in diverse places and earthquakes in diverse places. And I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you gals, we've never been closer than right now. Will we see it? Only time will tell. I'm not making that kind of claim, but I can tell you this: we're in for a really rough ride. Forecasts are anywhere from a year to even possibly, I shudder to think, I have heard as far as 20 years before things start to get back to some semblance of normal, if they ever do. And that's because they're wanting to collapse the petrodollar and that economic system and create a whole new economic system. Folks, it's called the World Economic Forum. One world economic entity, one world government. And recently Joe Biden signed on to a large portion of what they're trying to pull off with the World Health Organization. You may not be into politics, but I'm going to tell you something. Politics is all over all of us. I don't care to be in the middle of it. I don't get up and go to, I do very little, but I pay attention to it because it does affect me, and I've got a little boy and I've got a daughter, and it really hurts thinking about bringing them into this world and into this situation and burdening them with what we're about to go through. They're innocent. They had nothing to do with it. We were lazy. I'm pointing at myself at the same time. We were lazy. We were not involved when we should have been, and we let the wrong people get a lot of the wrong things passed and enacted. We have very little power on paperwork. The one thing that we've still got standing for us that they cannot just take away is our Constitution. They are trying, they are chopping at every side of the trunk of the tree of liberty, trying to make that Constitution fall, even if it's just the one or two of the most important, that being the First and the Second Amendment. They would love nothing more to take all the guns and to make us shut up. Are we going to let them win? I'm not calling for a revolution, but if it's revolution they want, it's going to be a bloody and a bad one. I know that. I don't want one. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go through what we're about to go through, but I'm prepared for it. I'm not scared of it. I know why we're in it. I know where it's coming from. Pay attention, folks. This isn't something happening to us. It's something being done to us. Anyway, I don't want to keep it any longer than this. Voice of reason. You guys have a blessed evening. Please prepare. Take care of yourselves, huh? I'll be seeing you around. How you living?